I'm going to have Joey Seals come up. Joey was not one of the coaches. His son was our first baseman. If you've seen this picture, that's actually his son right here next to the sounds guy. But he has a pretty unique perspective on the whole run from a parent side. So I wanted to make sure Joey came. We spoke at the Goodlettsville Chamber of Commerce a couple of months ago, and he kind of had him in tears laughing, just talking about his wife and how she handled the whole thing, going from districts all the way through the region. So I had to have Joey come again because he was so good. I think I'm just going to take this off. He's got a mic. Oh, you have a mic? Oh, okay. Well, good. Brad asked me to talk about pretty much the process that we went through from after we won the regional against Warner Robins, and the process up to Williamsport. So I can talk on that briefly, and then I'm going to let Joey talk about some of the things from the parent side. But pretty much, we had a meeting that morning before we played Warner Robins. It was us and the Warner Robins coaches. Jen Colvin, who's the Southeast Region Director, she sat down with us and pretty much went step by step on what would happen if either team had won. And it was pretty much, you win the game, the reporters there be interviewing you, you do all of that, and then you'll come across the street to her office, and then she'll sit down with the parents from the team and the coaches and pretty much tell them step by step what we'd be doing from that point forward. She said that the winner would not go home. We would leave from Warner Robins and go directly to Williamsport, which we did. So we won, obviously. We had the big meeting, and she pretty much told us that the next morning a bus would be waiting for us at the hotel. It'd pick up the coaches and the team, drive us to Atlanta. There we would get on a plane and fly to Newark, New Jersey. Another bus would pick us up and take us to to Williamsport. So sure enough, the next morning the bus was there. We jumped on the bus. Joey and the parents were there to see their kids, get on the bus with me. And actually it was me and Steve Snyder, who actually won our league last year. And he opted not to be the head coach, so he gave the team to me. I finished second last year. So me and Steve went. My dad didn't go with us because he's afraid of flying. So he drove back home to Nashville, and he and my mother drove up and met us on a Wednesday after we got up there. So Steve and I had all 13 kids going through the Atlanta airport. A lot of fun. Kids, as soon as they got off the bus, we were supposed to stop and just stand there and let everybody get organized. Well, they're walking off the bus and walking in the airport, just not knowing where they're going. So there's Steve, guys, come back, where are you going? So that was his job, was pretty much to say the guys thing and get them rounded back up. So he got them back. We finally got organized. We got all our gear, the stuff that we took with us. We went on up in the airport. And the thing that really got me was, as we're walking through the airport, there were people that already knew who we were. And that's when it really hit me how big a deal that it was for us to win, because so many people watched the tournament on ESPN, and they already knew who we were. I mean, we're just walking through can I see my hat? We had black shirts with just that logo on, the World Series logo, and that's all we had. And people knew who we were. They're walking up to Brock talking about, Brock Myers, oh, great game last night. You was awesome. And I'm like, wow, how do they even know it? We've only been on TV twice. And they already knew who we were just walking through the airport. So it was that was our first taste of what was to come. We got on the Flew Delta, went up to Newark, had to wait in Newark for a couple hours for the bus to finally come. We got into Williamsport around 9:30 that night, and I still remember the first sight that I saw. I don't know how many of you guys ever been up that way. It's beautiful. It's in the Pocono Mountains. It's a lot like Chattanooga to me because it's real hilly, but it's just a little road that runs right into the Little League headquarters, and then down the hill to the right is the field. And they had the infield lights on, so it was shining from the stadium, and it was just illuminating the infield only. So as we drove by, we could look down the hill and see the field. And I tell you, that was it for me. That was just an awesome sight. So we turned the corner and we got there, and the first thing they do is they bring doctors in and they start checking you, make sure you don't have a temp, you're not sick or anything. Because if you think about it, you got kids from all over the world in this confined space, and if somebody's sick, you could have an epidemic, everybody being sick. So they checked everybody, made sure we were fine. And then our two uncles, who, if those of you who've seen the scrapbook going around, that was from one of our uncles, who is your chaperone. You have 2 chaperones assigned to each team. And his wife put that together and gave that to all 3 coaches. So I have one, Steve has one, and my dad has one. But they met us at the bus. They took us over to the Grove, and it's just like a little college campus. It has just little individual buildings, and each individual building holds 4 teams. And we shared a building with the Nebraska team, who we played in the first game, and then the Caribbean was above us, and then to our left was Mexico. So needless to say, our first night, we really didn't get much sleep because the Caribbean know how to party. And that's all they did all night long, is just banging on, just jumping up and down, just making all kinds of noise. So our kids really didn't sleep much the first night, but you're there a week before the tournament ever begins. So it was okay. We got acclimated. But we got in the Grove, and I guess it was Brad or George, I told that when I was a kid, my dad, I grew up with baseball all my life, I was born in '69, and from '72 on, my dad was just coaching all-star teams and going to different tournaments. My memory is based on following him around all over the place, and I've done lost my train of thought what I was going to say with that, but, when we would go to tournaments, we'd go to the hotel and we'd get checked in. Well, the first thing I did as a kid would go find the pool, see what the swimming pool looked like. Well, when we got to Williamsport, the first thing I did was to go see the field, because that was my swimming pool, was seeing that field. And I tell you, I took a picture of it, and I remember sending it to some of the parents, and I wrote on the text, "The Promised Land," because seeing that field for the first time, you see it on TV all the time, that says Howard J. Lombardi and all that, but to see it live, with your own eyes for the first time, it was just the most incredible experience in my life as a coach, to stand on that hill and look down on that. And I know the security guards there, they have security. There's 3 checkpoints at the Grove, and they guard this place literally 24 hours a day from the time you're there till you leave. And those guys are in the distance in the background. They're all, laughing at me and pointing and stuff, because I'm just standing there just smiling looking at this field. So I ended up talking to those guys for at least till 2 in the morning that first night, and just telling them how amazed I was to be there and just to see that whole thing. It was just an unbelievable experience, and actually we kind of befriended the whole security staff, and they ended up rooting for us the whole time we were there, so it was kind of nice to have them on our side. But it was just really, the ESPN side of it, the Little League side of it, it was really run well. They've done it forever. They had meetings with the coaches. Brad asked me, did they talk to the kids about how you act or all that? No, they talked to the coaches on how you act, because it's normally the coaches that act out and act stupid and silly and all of that. So they had videos on how you should conduct yourselves and all that, because you're on a national stage. You have ESPN there, and cameras are always on you. So they really make sure you handle yourself appropriately. As far as the pressure, they asked us those questions all the time. The media up there, they just couldn't wrap their brain around the whole idea that we were just there to just do the best we could, have fun, and whatever happened, happened. That's what I kept telling the kids. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If we're going to win, we win. If we don't, we don't. We're here. We're here. There's nowhere else to go. There's no other tournament to win. Just enjoy the moment, because there's only a few kids that ever get to experience what they get to experience. So enjoy it. We put no pressure on the kids at all to do anything. There was no jumping up and down, you got to do this, you got to do that. It was just have fun, enjoy. If we win, we win. If we lose, that's fine too. And those guys just couldn't understand that. But, it worked, because the kids really, when I look back and think how the pressure that they really were under, we was under a lot of pressure, and how they handled that whole moment and just battled back game after game, down by a run going in the final inning against Texas, and then 2 runners on. Jason hits the ball down the right field line for a stand-up triple, drives in 2 runs, we end up winning the game. I think that was that game. It all blurs in, and then California, the first game, they tied up, and then we scored, 3 and beat them 9-6, and of course their coach, as we walk across the field, this is some things people don't know, they weren't very polite. One coach came by and, you shake hands, you say, "Great game, good job." They said, "We'll see you on Thursday." And what he meant by that was, we played them on a Sunday, so we got Monday and Tuesday off, and we played Texas on Wednesday. The loser of that game plays Thursday. So they were saying, y'all are not going to beat Texas. Y'all are going to lose. We're not going to lose again. We'll see y'all Thursday, and we'll take care of y'all then. So that's what he was saying to us. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. All right. That's nice of you. So we ended up seeing them on Saturday. And after that game, he said, y'all are the best team we've ever seen in our life. I mean, you know, he finally gave us respect. But he was pretty arrogant to me, and really the Warner Robins guys, same thing. I mean, we beat them, we walk across the field, and he says the umpires beat us. We didn't beat them, the umpires beat them. And I watched the game, and I'm like, how did the umpires beat you? I mean, Jason tags up, goes to third, slides in safe, and they call him out. I don't remember anything negatively happening to them except for the, you know, us hitting that outside corner all the time and them checking it up and striking out. And you know, if you don't get a hit, how can you win a game? I mean, how can the umpire, you know, Brock no-hit them until they got a little dinker over the shortstop's head in the final inning. So they got one hit the entire game, so I don't see how his theory of the umpires beating them. But we were like the little team that could, really. We were always underdogs. I mean, in Warner Robins, it was always Virginia. You know, Virginia did beat us. They beat us 4-3 in the first game. But it was Virginia, or it was North Carolina, or it was Alabama, or it was Georgia. It never was Tennessee. We were always the least of the ones that they felt like could win the whole thing. And, you know, they didn't talk about our hitting in Warner Robins. They talked about our pitching. You know, man, your pitching and your defense is so good, you know, but you're not really a good hitting team. But you're a good pitching team, you know. We go to play Warner Robins, and in the newspaper the day before, it's heavyweight plays little guys. They'd pretty much already said Warner Robins was going to win and go to the World Series. I mean, even the parents, you know, everybody there, oh, they beat North Carolina, that's great. Well, North Carolina beat Warner Robins 10-2 in the first game of the tournament, so they didn't want to play North Carolina. They wanted to play us, so they just felt like, well, we're going to the World Series. There's no way that little Tennessee team can beat us, and then we beat them. So obviously they were a little upset about it. They even were fundraising. You know, they have Kroger's down there. They're down there fundraising for the World Series during the Southeast Region tournament. I mean, it was, we weren't expected to do it.